Hello, everybody. Hello, Michigan fans out there. Hello, Washington fans. Something that brings us all together. That's right. It's been legal here in Michigan in the Midwest, at least in Michigan, for the last few years. Homegrown legal right there. So there aren't that many differences here between the West Coast and the Midwest. In fact, I want to thank the West Coast for this guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who just threw a passing touchdown to Goff as a receiver. Believe it or not, Goff had a receiving touchdown in the tonight, beating Seattle on the West Coast. So there's tie-ins here. We're all one big happy family, but Detroit won. Can Michigan? We're going to dive into this right here and now. Jedd Fisch for Washington is a familiar name. I don't know if anyone on the Michigan staff remembers him being there or if they were there together. I don't think so, because Harbaugh took everybody that would have been. But he's a great coach. But 3-2 at Washington so far to start the season. Losses to Washington State at home. And then at Rutgers is not an easy place to play as well. But new head coaches for both of these teams after that national championship game last year, where both teams were undefeated going into it. Now, Washington has 2 losses. Michigan has 1 loss. Let's see who can win this game. All right, Washington's offense is getting 25 points per game, same as Michigan. Same as Michigan, even though you're getting way more yards, 469 yards per game. How are you not scoring more points? Passing yards per game, 296. Rushing yards per game, 173. Now this is all behind. For pass-happy teams, I like to put their toys out there first, and then work to the offensive line. Teams that like their toys at quarterback and wide receiver, I'll start with those positions for those teams. Quarterback Will Rogers is a senior transfer from Mississippi State. I believe 75% so far this season. 271 yards per game, 9.2 average. He has 10 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in this season. He does not run. So it's another Michael Penix, right? Does he have the same weapons that Michael Penix had when Michigan destroyed them last year? Well, wide receiver Denzel Boston is a sophomore who has 30 catches for 412 yards, 13.7 average, and he has 7 receiving touchdowns. He's the go-to guy for them as a sophomore. Giles Jackson is a senior, another familiar name to Michigan fans. He was on our roster at one point, now at Washington. 34 catches for 401 yards, 11.8 average, and a touchdown. Jeremiah Hunter is a senior who has 16 catches for 201 yards, 12.6 average, and 1 touchdown. And then the freshman, Rashid Williams, I can't leave him out because he has a 25-yard average. 17.7 yard average, 3 receptions for 53 yards. At tight end, we got to look out for Decker DeGraff, who is a freshman as well. 5 catches, 125 yards. That's where the 25-yard average comes in for him. 2 touchdowns receiving so far, and it's in lieu of Kaleki Latu at tight end as well. The senior, I'm not sure if he got in, if he's still injured or if he got injured or, but this Decker DeGraff is their best tight end. Latu, though, has had 13 catches, 115 yards, 8.8 average as well. I don't think they do a lot of 2 tight end sets. I watched a couple of their games, and yeah, that's not what's going to happen. But at running back, then, Washington has a few. Jonah Coleman is a junior, and he has 72 carries for 521 yards, a 7.2 average, and 4 touchdowns. That is Kalel Mullings like stats right there. Plus, they have a quarterback and wide receivers. So it is going to be a very interesting game. Stay tuned to the end for the prediction. Cam Davis, a senior, backs Jonah Coleman up 33 carries, 165 yards, 5-yard average. And then Ahmad Mohammed, a freshman, 12 carries, 99 yards, and an 8.3 average. And then the second quarterback, DeMond Williams Jr., is a freshman who has 14 carries for 90 yards, a 6.4 average. He also is 12 of 15 passing so far and a touchdown. So a great Wildcat quarterback that comes in. Who knows what the hell that guy's going to do. All right. They're all behind this offensive line. 4 or 5 of these offensive linemen are transfers in this past off season. And I think they are underweight, in my opinion, going up against Michigan's defensive line, especially at left tackle. Maximus McCree is a junior at left tackle, 6'6", but he's only 272 pounds. He's light on his feet. Left guard Memler is a junior, 6'4", 299. Center D'Angelo Titali is a senior, 6'2", 325 pounds. The heaviest person on the team is center. Usually that's, if you're great at the trenches, that might be the opposite. Right guard Enoch Vima is a graduate transfer, 6'4", 301 pounds, barely 300. Right tackle Drew Azopardi is a sophomore, so they have a young guy at right tackle as well. Michigan does too. We'll get to that. 6'7", 308 pounds. So I think the defensive line can disrupt. We'll get to the defense. At kicker, they have Grady Gross, who is 7 of 11 on field goals, 0 for 2 from 50 yards or more, which I think is an important stat because I don't know if they can get closer than that most of these drives because Michigan's defense is allowing 21 points per game, and that includes Texas, that includes USC. Yards per game, they're giving up 318. Passing yards per game, they're giving up 249. In rushing yards per game, they're only giving up 69. Now, you Washington fans might be seeing them passing yards allowed, 250 almost, and lick your chops. And I don't blame you. But Wink decides. Wink decides when you get big chunk plays. He will give you a wink. He will. He will let you know when those plays are available, when he puts everyone on the line of scrimmage, 0 coverage, and yeah, that's the go, clear ahead, pass. Otherwise, this defense is great. when healthy. Creating depth every week. Even in these close games, we're rotating and we're getting new guys in and they're getting experience. It seems that Will Johnson and Josiah Stewart, who was out last week, are going to be in this week. They were out because of precautionary reasons versus Minnesota. Didn't need them. We brought the little brown jug home. Now we're going out west. So, different story. But that is the Washington offensive point of view. Now, let's talk Michigan's offensive point of view, which has been struggling, to say the least. Michigan, points per game, 25 they're getting. Yards per game, only 310. Passing yards per game, 115. Rushing yards per game, though, 195 rushing yards per game in a non-triple option offense. I think we might as well just go there. But let's talk about Michigan's quarterback here real quick. It's Alex Orji. And after 2 starts, he is 56%, which is not the greatest. And he has only 133 yards in 2 starts. But on the season, he has 3 touchdowns to just 1 interception. All that doesn't sound great, but it's the best that Michigan has at this moment. And I happen to think a player, even a quarterback, can improve during this season. If not, then why the hell are we doing this? Why are we not improving all these players? Why are we allowing G5 teams into the playoff? They're not any good. Teams can't improve. Teams can't surprise. All right, players can surprise. I think he can. He has 32 carries as well this season for 113 yards. It's only 3.5 average, but you have to factor in his 3 sacks that he has had as a starter now. He will continue to rely on the run game, and Michigan should, behind an improving offensive line. Now, I brought up the wide receivers first for Washington. I'm bringing up the offensive line first for Michigan here on offense. Hinton went out for Minnesota on the Minnesota game last week, but from what I saw, he's going to be okay, ready to go for this game. He's a senior. Josh Preeb is a graduate. All these players are 300 pounds and above. Promise you that. Just go watch the preview for the Minnesota game. I forgot to write down their heights and weights, but all of these guys are red shirts basically after the 6 offensive linemen that left Michigan last year went pro. These guys have been waiting in the wings, and they are looking better as a team as we are moving along. Dominic Gaitis at junior at center. Right guard Gio El-Hadi is a junior. Right tackle is the weakest link. Pun intended. Evan Link is the weakest link, but he's the youngest. He's only a redshirt freshman. So give the guy some time. Just like the quarterback. Now, as we're doing that, giving teams time, I take a drink. Give me time to wet my whistle here. Kalel Mullings is a Heisman contender, in my opinion. The guy's a beast. 6'3", 230 something. Former linebacker, now running back. Had great runs last year. I thought he should have been running back 1 to start the season, just like I thought Orji should have been QB 1 to start the season. Let's punish some people. We're leaning towards that. Sharon is getting on board. Kalel, a senior now. 77 carries, 540 yards, a 7-yard average, 6 touchdowns so far in 5 games. Similar to Jonah Coleman for Washington, but I would say Kalel has faced a far more superior opposition so far. And then, of course, Donovan Edwards is back there, a senior. 59 carries, 258 yards, 4.4 average, 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. That's where he needs to be. I saw some new wrinkles last week versus Minnesota where Michigan had Donovan Edwards out wide, but they kept bringing him back in. I don't understand that to run the ball. Leave him out there. Bring him in once the run game is really established. I know he's a home run threat, so you have to put him back there at some points. But where is Benjamin Hall? Benjamin Hall is the guy that needs to spell Mullings. The effort, the ground and pound of running people over, getting out of tackles, that kind of stuff. Ben Hall, where is he? He's a sophomore. He's got a 5.7 average on 6 carries so far this season. That's all. That's it. I want to see more of him in the backfield. And then, of course, Michigan has tight end Colston Loveland, who is a junior this season. He's going to go pro. 23 catches, 228 yards, 9.9 average, 1 touchdown, and he was out versus USC. But he was back from Minnesota and had 6 catches, and he was the leading wide receiver for us. Marlon Klein is a junior as well, 6 catches at tight end, 69 yards, 11.5 average. He is a really great player as well, as long as we have a quarterback that can get it to him, as long as we have an offensive coordinator that trusts in the quarterback, and as long as the quarterback allows the offensive coordinator to give him trust. See where we're at. At Michigan, a lot of trust is up in the air, and we're learning and we're finding it all out. We're getting to it. So is this the game we put it all together? I don't know, but I'm gonna give you a prediction. I promise. At wide receiver for Michigan, Samaj Morgan has the best stats so far. Kind of the most catches, at least 12 this season. 62 yards and 1 touchdown. All of these receivers are able and willing to block for the run game. That's where Michigan thrives. That's what we need from these guys as of right now. Can they maybe slip out and have a play action catch? Yes, absolutely. The ingenuity from Kirk Campbell has been a disgrace, I think, so far. Look at what Ben Johnson is doing for the Lions. We have everything in place except quarterback, too. They made Goff look really damn good. And he's not. But he caught a touchdown. There were wrinkles. He was 18 of 18 or something. No incompletions. Goff. That's what a good offensive coordinator can do. And I'm waiting on that. I really am. If Michigan is serious about play action to a deep wide receiver, I would pick Kendrick Bell to be that guy, or Frederick Moore, of course. Amorian Walker is still out there in the wings, but Kendrick Bell has 4 catches for 42 yards so far this season. I think he's the guy. The thing is, Michigan hasn't even tried that because no one was physical enough to stop the run except Texas this season. Texas was able to take us at our game in the lines of scrimmage and had more ingenuity to play calling. So what can Michigan's offense do versus Washington's defense? Their defense is giving up 12 points per game, 250 yards per game, 128 passing, 121 rushing. So they're equal opportunity employers in how you get yards, but they're far and few between. How do you have only 12 points per game allowed as a defense and you're 3-2? A Michigan fan is asking this. Tupatala has 2.5 sacks at linebacker. Zach Durfee has 2.5 sacks at the end. Thaddeus Dixon is probably your best cornerback with an interception and 5 pass breakups. The D-line is gettable, though, on the interior. You best be assured that Michigan will understand that. They are going to run up the middle. So what do you think about that, Washington fan? Can you stop it? And you best be assured that Michigan will, if you can't stop that and then maybe you create too many in the box, they will try to have some play action over top. Now, the linebacker Burner has 30 tackles, and he is very good in coverage as well, so we got to watch out for that guy. This is a classic matchup. And not just because it's a rematch of the national title last year, but it's because you have quarterback and wide receiver for one team going up against running back centric and defense on another team. I hope that quarterback isn't that important in this game, and that's what I've preached all through the YouTube, my YouTube 500 videos. This is 501. I say quarterback is way too overrated. It's not that important unless Orgy is set up in good situations. Like I said, Michigan is used to all these great quarterbacks, and they keep beating them. Stroud, Penix last year. I know it's all last year, but still this year, quarterbacks are throwing all over us, but they're not winning. The only one was Texas because of these lines of scrimmage. They could run the ball too. And they had a great defense. So, what is more important, quarterback and wide receiver, or everything else? That's what this game comes down to. The trenches belong to Michigan. But Fish has a Mullings on his team and a quarterback with wide receivers. That scares me a little bit. But Michigan is more tested and is better. Give me Michigan. I think they're going to win this game on the road. I might be going senile, but if you're in the comments, let me know if you agree. Michigan's going to win this game, and I think it might be their most handily win, their most handled, biggest margin of victory since maybe Arkansas State. So I think Michigan wins on the road 34-24. A 10-point victory on the road from Michigan, because I think the run game and the offensive line is good enough to establish some things. We'll see what Kirk Campbell can do, and Orgy with the new offense. It really is a new offense. Now, 2 weeks in for Michigan on this new offense. What can it look like going forward? I'm excited about it. So, And then, Michigan's defense, just don't give up the big plays, don't wink, and we'll be just fine. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like it if you can. It's free. Share, subscribe, all that stuff. And have a great night and go blue, baby.